So this election has been won by Donald Trump. The Democrats are now in the process of completing what they started almost 5 years ago, which is the plan to stop him from being president of the United States by developing false charges of Russian collusion. So they went through all that. They did the whole Ukrainian thing against him, which now turns out, when you look at the Hunter Biden, Joe Biden computer, there was plenty of evidence that Joe Biden got a $14 million bribe in the Ukraine from Mykola Zlochevsky. In fact, that something's got to be pursued no matter what, win, lose, or draw. That's a bribery of a vice president of the United States on record. Sorry, the whole Ukrainian impeachment thing, a complete farce. And now we're into phase 3 or 4, which is the plan they started developing months ago with this mail-in ballot thing, which is entirely unconstitutional. The mail-in ballots were going to be a way for the Democrats to regularize and make legal what they do illegal in many elections and in places like New York, Boston, Chicago. They hold back the vote, and Florida. They hold back the vote when we get down to these last 4 or 5% like you see going on. And then somehow they find new ballots. In fact, in Milwaukee, while we were asleep, they found 138,000 new ballots, all for Biden. All for Biden. You think those were cast by real voters? You think they were cast by some Democrat sitting in a back room? This has been their plan all along. It is totally impossible, illogical, irrational that the same thing would happen in all 5 or 6 places where there were close votes. What do I mean by the same thing? I mean the thing that the gentleman in Philadelphia has given us an affidavit on, and we'll get many of them now. The man heading the delegation of Republicans that was supposed to observe the mail-in ballots was kept in a room for 21 hours where he had no ability to see the ballots. Explain that to you. That's been reversed now. We're going to still have to go to the Supreme Court with it because the damage has already been done. But here's the end result of this. The end result of this, we've got similar conduct now, not allowing Republicans to observe the mail-in ballots. We've got it in Philadelphia. We've got it in Milwaukee. We've got it in Detroit. We've got it in Phoenix, Arizona, and we have it in both Las Vegas and Reno, as I told you. And those are all going to be pursued as part of separate and then long-term federal suits. Donald Trump won this election. The Democrats tried everything they could beforehand to stop him, including censorship. They couldn't. Now they've got one last chance, and that is what they're very good at, which is cheating on the vote count. But this time, this is a Republican Party and a president who fights for you because they want to take your vote away. They want the elites to determine our president. And we want the people of the United States to determine our president. And we will fight to make sure that your vote is counted and that your vote is not canceled out by an illegal vote. And we'll do whatever we have to do within the law to do that. That's because we have a president who cares about you. And they have a candidate who says, you don't deserve the right to know. And who announced, probably in a Freudian slip 2 days before, looking at the people, I'm going to win it without you. Yep, he's going to win it with the network heads, the big tech heads, and money that he's gotten from all kinds of places, including communist China. We're not going to let that happen.
I think the number one thing that Donald Trump can do in this election is fight each and every one of these battles to the death so that we get full transparency in the process. And everyone on the Democrat side should welcome this unless they're actually cheating. Because if they're winning these things fair and square, then everyone would love to know that, because me as an American, I'd like to know that, because I've lost all faith in the process. I think the Democrats are used to this from a Republican Party that hasn't had a backbone. You're not going to see that this time around. That party is gone, and anyone that doesn't fight like that should go with it. So we're going to be watching this nonsense, because everyone knows what's going on. Everyone understands it. And the media, who, let's not kid ourselves, have given up the pretense of objectivity to be cheerleaders for the left, they're going to go nuts. But Donald Trump is going to fight each and every one of these things so we have a fair election, regardless of that outcome. Americans need to know that this is not a banana republic.
大纪元的记者呢，在全美各地看到许许多多的支持川普的美国人民勇敢地站了出来，发起集会游行，要求公正。在亚利桑那州的集会现场，画面中可以看到有川普的支持者已经拿起了枪。美国人民不忍了，一定要讨回公正。
Yes, there has been a massive and coordinated effort to steal this election from we, the people of the United States of America, to delegitimize and destroy votes for Donald Trump, to manufacture votes for Joe Biden. They have done it in every way imaginable, from having dead people vote in massive numbers to absolutely fraudulently creating ballots that exist only voting for Biden. We've identified at least 450,000 ballots in the key states that miraculously only have a mark for Joe Biden on them and no other candidate. If you look at Florida, where things were done right, you can see that that's how the rest of the country should have gone. But they also used an algorithm to calculate the votes they would need to flip, and they used the computers to flip those votes from from Trump to Biden, and from other Republican candidates to their competitors also. I think Doug Collins had the race stolen from him. I think John James had his race stolen from him. It wasn't just President Trump. There were many people affected by this. We have got to fight tooth and nail in federal court to expose this abject fraud and the conspiracy behind it, and get a recount and audits in every place it's needed, which is, frankly, most of the country.
So there are recounts going on right now. We know that in Georgia, you have a list of numbers of ballots with only Joe Biden on the ticket. You say it's 98,000 ballots in Pennsylvania, 80 to 90,000 in Georgia, another 42,000 in Arizona, 69 to 115,000 in Michigan, and 62,000 in Wisconsin. Sitting, if this is true, this appears systemic. Where is the Department of Justice? Where is the AG Bill Barr? If this is so obvious, then why aren't we seeing massive government investigations?
I don't know. We definitely should be. I mean, we're getting reports of all kinds of fraud. We've got getting an affidavit from a postal worker now who talks about having been ordered to backdate ballots. No ballots received after the polls closed on voting day should even be counted. We've got multiple states that didn't even follow the rules of their own legislature. That's a federal constitutional issue. There are at least 3 major federal issues here that will require the Supreme Court to resolve this case. And when the votes are really audited and the real votes are counted, Trump will win. He is the president, and he is in charge of this country.
Him here today, 'cause there ain't no doubt he loves this land.